Hey guys, it's Terraria Gaming here with 5 tips and tricks you should know when playing Terraria. I'm gonna make this real brief, so we're gonna hop right in. Alrighty, tip number 1. Did you know that the best way to find an NPC's favorite biome is by going to the Bestiary? You can click on any NPC and you can tell what their favorite biome is. For the guide, it's the surface. For the merchant, it's the surface, which is the forest, as you can see here. And for the nurse, it's the hollow. This is the best way to find out what biome makes the NPC the most happy. As you can see, the merchant is in the forest, which is his favorite biome, and so he sells the pylon because he is happy enough to sell the pylon. Now, on to tip number 2. Now, for our second tip, did you know you actually don't have to end up beating the Brand of Cthulhu or Eater of Worlds to get the loot? Yes, when you defeat the Brand of Cthulhu's little minions, he actually drops some of the ore that you need to end up making the Crimtane armor. And that is the same with the Eater of Worlds, where you just have to destroy segments of it, and it drops the armor and the scales. This is useful in case you're having trouble beating the boss. You don't actually have to beat him. You can make the armor he used from the ore he drops and end up fighting him again. This allows you to make the armor without beating him, and it's very useful if you're struggling. Now to tip number 3. Alrighty, for tip number 3, this is a tip I learned quite recently whenever I was doing a playthrough in hard mode. Whenever you sleep in a bed, as you can see by my little clock here, time speeds up by 5 times. I didn't know this until I set my spawn in this little room because I was going to do a boss fight and I had the nurse here and I wanted to set my spawn, but I accidentally clicked on the bed and I noticed because I had my gold watch in my inventory that time was speeding up. So that's a pretty interesting and useful fact if you wanted to skip a day or something. However, this does not work whenever it is a blood moon or a solar eclipse, and it does not work in multiplayer unless everyone is sleeping in a bed at the same time. Now on to tip number 4. Alrighty, tip number 4 has 2 parts. The first part of tip number 4 is that whenever you fight the wall of flesh, you should build a very long bridge similar to this so you don't fall in the lava as you see here. But the second part of this tip is that did you know if you have a water walking potion equipped, you can walk on lava? Yes, you can walk on lava. Don't touch hellstone, however, it doesn't save you from that. You'll still burn. So if you hypothetically, when you're fighting the wild flesh, do not want to build a bridge and you want to save time, get yourself a water walking potion and you can just walk across the lava terrain. And you might want to make sure to avoid all the obsidian towers and cities or build little holes in them like I did right here so you can get around them while fighting the wall. But you can still work. Just be careful whenever you're going up slopes because it might push you into the lava, and whenever you still can't walk on hellstone. But whenever you're sitting on lava, do not hit down or you will fall in the lava. Now on to our next tip. Alrighty, and for our 5th and final tip, this tip is about map generation. Did you know that when you spawn into any world, the jungle will always be on one side, as you can see here, while the ice biome will always be on the opposite side, and on the same side as the ice biome will always be the dungeon. The dungeon will always spawn on the same side as the ice biome, and the jungle will spawn on the opposite side as that. So, if you are going in one direction looking for the dungeon and you find the jungle, know that the dungeon will be on the opposite side. And if you run into the ice biome, know the dungeon is on that side. And, just a little side tip, whenever you find a dungeon, make sure to always check above the dungeon because for some reason, sky cities or sky islands always tend to spawn above dungeons. Just a little interesting fact. That is all for this Terraria guide on tips and tricks you should know in Terraria. If you felt any of these were useful and you'd like to know more, please feel free to check out my other guide on some musical instruments that you can play in Terraria. Or if you have any other questions, please feel free to comment down below. So I'll see y'all in the next video.